I think okay, it looks like it's going. Okay, check now.
All right, I'll just refresh the page. Yep, there you are. Excellent.
Okay, very awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, it looks like it's going. Okay, check now.
All right. We're on a little delay, so it's kind of funny.
Okay, which is fine. Okay,
Excellent. So where are you, Tim?
I am in New York City, in Manhattan, getting ready for our meetup. We're getting all the things set up, putting out our Milvis bird who's been traveling across the country. And he's very happy to be back in sunny, warm New York City. And I think he'll have a good time interacting with all the people out here. And we'll be getting going in it's going to be like an hour. We'll have people showing up. I know we got more people than we can handle for this first one. So we're trying to find the biggest venue in New York City for everybody. Because we had amazingly, for those people out there who signed up, over 250 people signed up.
Well,
And
that was before you even shut down the registration.
yeah, I was like, oh, sorry, got a wait list. I mean, I wish I had that much room. We're gonna be pretty full at whatever number shows up. So we're looking. I mean, literally, we were talking about a venue a minute ago. Uh,
So who's speaking at tonight's meetup and what are the topics?
Yeah, let me get that up. We got three people and very interesting. I'll do a little talk about some of the things going on with edge processing, AI, and vector database, which is getting to be very exciting. I was hoping a certain thing would arrive, but that'll be here for the next one, which we're looking for a massive venue. But I'll do a little bit of vector database, a little background, a little bit of how we do it at the edge, some little demos. Then I got my friend Chris from Cloudera here, and I was going over his slides. Really interesting stuff on how they're doing real time and using Milvis as part of a real time AI infrastructure. Pretty cool stuff there. And then finally, we got Lisa coming over. If you were on the West Coast, gonna sound familiar. Metadata lakes there for next gen AI. Again, I think we're trying to bring all this up to the next level where everything becomes enterprise, where you have a lot of data, a lot of things going on real time, a lot of things you've got to manage, a lot of metadata, a lot of corporate data, things happening at that next level with security. You're not talking a couple of documents or a couple thousand vectors. You're starting to get into, you know, millions of vectors, billions, who knows how much, and then petabytes of data in all different sources, all that coming together. I think we're starting to see the start of that, and I think people are excited because when I look at that list of people signed up, it's people from banks, research institutes, tons of different companies all over New York and all over the world because we're going to be live for everyone or at least recorded for everyone around the world because I think we're not touching all these topics everywhere. So we're going to
Yeah,
make sure we get that to everyone. So everyone,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we try to, as best as we can, we want to make sure that, because there's so much to cover, right, Tim? There's so many angles to this vector search that we want to avoid duplication of topics as much as possible so we can get across all the things that we need to all learn about. And like you were saying, I think, last year was all about RAG on your laptop, building those prototypes. But now, we got to get serious and start putting these prototypes into production, which means we need real-time data coming in. We have to deal with a lot of data changing the indexes, which of course, if done improperly, is going to really slow down the entire application. And then I think Lisa's going to touch upon, there's like who should have access to what, right? Whether it's, at the entry point, right? Like as you're building those data pipelines or at the application, at the final point of that data, just because you build like a chatbot, you might have some sensitive data, and maybe there's like certain people that are just not supposed to even be able to ask those questions and get the answers. So it starts to become a very complex situation that I think we've done a really good job as an industry, satisfying the governance and security requirements with structured data in traditional databases. And so now it's taking those same philosophies and approaches and tools and bringing them over to support vector search. So it should be really, really interesting for all of you that are going to be attending.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun one, and I think we'll start building the community of people who are going to come out to all of these, which is why we're going to get a bigger venue, and we're working on that. I mean, having worked with AI Camp, I know there's a huge interest out there, and there's just so much to cover. Even between the two of us, AI Camp and Zilla's with Unstructured Data Meetup, even 2 a month is going to be tough. So sometimes we'll have some other ones in Princeton where I've got some interesting research going on at the university and some other people. And again, and wherever we do it, we'll make sure it's either live streamed or recorded. We want to make sure everyone gets it, even if they can't attend. I know can't make it every event, especially sometimes there's weird traffic stuff. Trains, planes, automobiles, temperature's 100 degrees, all those fun things that happen. Things catch on fire. We're going to make sure we're, saving this content, making it available, because I think there's going to be a lot of stuff building each week, month we do this, just as we get add more features. There's a lot of good stuff coming, and next month there's some interesting people attending, and I'm hoping to have a very unique demo in place by then with some unique hardware that I am acquiring.
Nice. That's I'm intrigued. I'm
Yeah,
intrigued.
me too. I can't wait. It's like Christmas for me. I'm like, is it yet?
Christmas in July for Tim.
Christmas in July. Maybe that'll be the theme. I'll wear my Santa beard, Santa cap. Oh, be a nice weather for, wearing a nice warm sweater. 110. That'll be fine.
So we had the Palo Alto meetup on Tuesday night, and
Nice.
same situation with what you're seeing in New York, where we had a record registration and attendance, and the topics were mostly focused on RAG and security for the first two speakers, and a couple of things that I was kind of intrigued by was there's in some situations you're going to be using personal identifiable information, which you definitely want to obfuscate, right? You don't want to make you want to make sure. But there were a couple of examples that they were sharing where it can be a little bit problematic, and the name Max as an example, Tim, I didn't even think about it.
Max. Max is a tough one.
Lowercase max, is it a name or does it mean something else? So it can get a little bit tricky. And then even when you want to substitute like bracket person one, it turns out that when you send that information to an LLM, sometimes the LLM is going to even just change the bracket, and that may also have consequences, right, on what you're doing. So there was a lot of learnings that they shared with us with, when you're substituting data, obfuscating data, that the consistency is key, especially when you're sending it to the LLM, and understanding what the LLM might do with that. I thought that was, those were some good learnings there.
Yeah. It's so easy to not realize what's a keyword, because I mean, the breadth and depth of what they trained on, who knows?
Exactly.
They could be hitting obscure papers, or as we've seen, the onion. So you gotta be careful there. I mean, that's why you have to have, everything in place that you could think of that you had before for enterprise data. And you have to use a real enterprise solution. You can't just, think I got a library somewhere that'll be good enough, or, some database someone wrote 2 weeks ago by themselves, which is pretty cool. They did that, but I'm not putting my enterprise data there. As we've seen with all the cyber things. There's so many things to watch out for when you're using a database at an enterprise level.
Yeah, I
You
mean, you can
really
hijack things at the prompt, right? I mean, you can do all kinds of nasty things with this. As exciting as all these RAG applications are, the unfortunately the bad guys are right behind, right? Trying to figure out all the vulnerabilities. And I was actually talking to one of the attendees, and I was saying, we're used to like Patch Tuesday, right? We're used to seeing those lists of vulnerabilities for all the applications. So now we're going to have a whole new set of vulnerabilities that we're going to have to watch for and
prompt,
address.
yeah. Watch
Yeah.
out for this prompt issue. Yeah. This
And then
particular model.
yeah. And then Frank, our own Frank Liu, he actually gave everyone a history lesson on multimodal models and how they came to be, and kind of talked about how image and text models they converged, and that's how we will get multimodal models, and a lot of people doing multimodal RAG. And if you guys didn't get to see it, check out the video on YouTube. What was really impressive, Tim, is that he actually took this video from the Google I/O conference, and
Right.
it's like this really crazy video. Some like DJ he like crawls out of this giant coffee cup, and then it's just really wacky looking, right? And then he gets on stage and does his DJ thing. So he actually converted that little video. He took basically the individual frames, turned those into vector embeddings, and then, so these are all images, right, that he threw in there. And then get this, he asked the prompt is in text, and he asked, what is, unusual about this video? And there is, I have to remind everybody, there's no transcript that we threw into vector embeddings. It's actually looking at images, and it came out with a response that, the unusual thing is this person climbed out of a coffee cup, but it was just doing it, with images.
Nice.
And hopefully, that's like going to inspire people to build something pretty amazing from that.
Yeah, I think the more use cases and the more now that we have different types, radically different types of data, and then how we're going to query pictures, video, audio, text all together. And however, people are going to find new things we haven't thought of. There's going to be something finally to replace SQL that's going to be like, well, a picture of a cat plus me going hello, saying hello, plus one line of text. That's my query language.
Yeah,
Get back everything I need. You're like, what? And young people will just get it. They'll be like, of course. I'll put, two emoticons, an emoji, a picture of a cat, and say, do this quickly. And I get my results wherever they are. It doesn't
exactly.
matter. Give it to me instantly, whether it's video, image, text, audio, all that together.
But if you think about it, that's how we act as humans, right? Like we can look at a video, we can hear an audio file, we can wait, and we can, we know like how to connect all these things. So the exciting thing is now computers can help us to do that at basically at scale. So
That's
hopefully we can do some pretty interesting things with that data.
Man, you're looking, if I'm trying to say, hey, have you seen my cat? I'm going to share a picture of the cat. I'm probably not going to describe it. Well, it's a white cat about this big. Here's a picture. And you're like, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Because you also might use some text descriptors that I don't understand about the cat. You might tell me like what kind of cat it is, and I might be like, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, but picture, maybe you understand pictures, maybe you understand the audio. Oh, this is what he sounds like. Oh, I know that cat.
So tell us a couple of places that the Milvis bird went to in these last 2 weeks.
He was driving across the country. He was in Ohio at a couple of campgrounds, and then our main stop was Glacier National Park in Montana, which
Nice.
is amazing. You can see some of the glaciers there. There's this amazing road through the mountain. You see some pretty awesome stuff. plus this giant glacier formed lake that's clear. You could see it's like hundreds of feet down and you could see right to the bottom. And there's all colored rocks there, really nice. And then we went to which people might have seen this on TV, that wasn't us, was on there was uh Yellowstone. As you saw, people saw that Biscuit Basin. Well, Milvis was there, and we were looking at Old Faithful, and we looked at a lot of interesting thermal stuff there. It's pretty cool. And then a couple days ago, there was a big eruption, but fortunately, no one was hurt. But
So,
pretty amazing nature there.
so do they know what caused the eruption? It was just a natural thing,
It
or?
just happens every couple of years. I mean, it's under a lot of pressure. I
Hmm.
mean, they're pretty regular, but something backs up a little bit, something gets a little bit more force. There's a lot of variables to track. Hopefully someone puts them all in a vector database, but there's a lot of different things to track, different temperatures, probably images, video, audio, the sound. Like you go near these and you could hear them bubbling. Now we got to be able to record the smell because the smell at at Yellowstone is special.
Yeah, I bet. Like a bunch of eggs, right?
Yeah, not good eggs. And you're like, wow, that's beautiful, the most beautiful looking water. But oh, why does
Yeah.
it smell like I'm behind a garbage truck in the summer? Not good.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, there's probably a bunch of those different, images, sounds, videos that, a little collection of them can like kind of tell scientists that something's about to happen. So you're trying to, then you can use vector search to find similar items, right?
Yeah, see, well, this is the last time we had a big eruption, and you see, well, this was the temperature, this was the sounds, this is what the images looked like. This is images over time, this is a video, and you can put that all together with whatever other readings and sensors they're taking and make pretty smart predictions with that. But you feed that into the right model, and then you go, hey, it looks like in the next couple of weeks we got one coming. You better,
Mhm.
and then start narrowing it down. Yeah, I'm sure they could do that.
And then I think there's a couple of models that also help with bringing in time series data, which is then going
Oh
to
yeah.
really help those kinds of situations, right? Because you want to be able to track, those things over time to understand like, okay, is this similar to what happened before?
Yeah, I mean, because they've got a decent amount of data now. They just have to use it all together. I think that's pretty exciting what you could do with all the different types of data that wasn't really looked at before and have a model, figure that out for you a lot quicker. So even with, people assisting, having this big brain that is run on all this different types of data is really going to help out.
So I'm assuming that you didn't pay attention to the Llama 3.1 update when you're on vacation.
There was a lot of stuff came out. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, I'm gonna have it busy when I get back, man. So,
yeah.
so much new stuff came out. I'm like, wow, and really big models. I don't know where I'm downloading that. I mean, I'm like, ooh, I'll put this on a llama. How much storage? Ooh, I
But
mean,
don't you have like every giant piece of hardware in your office?
yeah, but how, we're starting to get into the hundreds of gigs of data here for some of these, what was that 840 model there? That's uh one billion, 2 billion, 7 billion. Okay, that's pretty big, but 800 plus. Now you're starting to really get into something you have to really dedicate and you go, this is the model I want. Okay, I'm gonna spend a week downloading this, you know, Blu-ray worth of model here.
So before you left for vacation, what were you working on?
Well, I was working on a couple different things, but one coming up is this Edge, because I just got Milvis Lite running really nice on one of my older NVIDIA devices I had. And it's looking really good. So we'll probably move that to a newer one that's going to run its own Gen AI models and some of these exciting new NVIDIA microservices, which are, I got a little run of those just before I left, and those are next generation. I mean, it just makes things so much easier to understand and run so fast with like a line of Python. It's
So what are
they have spent some good research on this to make this really cool.
so what are some like use cases that you're starting to think of that you can do at the edge?
Well, to me, as you mentioned, for things like monitoring live things that are seemingly unpredictable, like, you know, a caldera full of potentially explosive liquid and gas, you can monitor that. Because, I mean, you've got live camera, you could do thermal camera, other sensors, have that fed into the model that's right there. You know, it doesn't have to go to the cloud, because I could tell you the phone and the network in these remote places like Yellowstone is minimal to non-existent. So to be able to run it right there instantly, be able to query instantly against things that you have in your vector database is going to be, changing. So you could do the same thing. If I could do that for monitoring, you know, anything, I could put that in a robot. I could put that in a self-driving vehicle, in a truck, and have a lot of GPU power, CPU power, RAM, a lot of ability, plus having models running right there, plus having a framework to have all the libraries you need, plus having that vector database, so I could do any of those searches instantly and, improve the RAG running right there at the edge, or just be able to get results right away. And someone can take their laptop, a researcher, whoever needs to interact with data, connect right to this device, not even need Wi-Fi, not even need any other kind of network, and be able to query it right away, run a notebook against it, have a local experience. And then when you are able to connect, to be able to federate these with all other robots or devices or whatever these mobile edge units are, because edge is just the next part of your infrastructure. You've got your edge, maybe you've got data centers, multiple clouds, cloud availability regions everywhere, to have them be able to operate independently and then, federate out data to other systems with this type of power
So
is something new. I mean, this is very interesting.
So
I
what's
mean,
your definition of edge? Because I mean, what you were talking about, with like Yellowstone, that's definitely one kind of edge where it's just this really remote, kind of an island, right? A device that's all out of their own. But there's probably other things that can consider edge. What are some other?
it could just be whatever's not part of your data center or part of your clouds. I mean, if you're retail, a store. If I'm in manufacturing, it's, individual manufacturing plants, or even, big machines within those plants can be totally, have their own brain and have their own data and have their own ability to run, things that move, planes, trains, cars, as we could see with some of these global system outages, to be able to have intelligence right there locally and not require external things could be really important. And then being able to, you know, sync up and merge data when necessary is great, and being able to harness the horsepower of the entire cloud is great at times. But NVIDIA is putting out enough power that you could make a lot of decisions and run serious models, especially with all these open source models, right there at the edge. And the edge, like I said, could be stores, branches, plants, facilities, vehicles. I mean, at some point, it's going to be a phone. The phone is going to have enough horsepower to run models now that we like. Oh, I'm like, well, where am I going to put that model? I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to put this on my kid's phone because it's only 100 terabyte model, and my phone has got, these things upscale very quickly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, definitely. And
generations, you'll be like, of course, my smart jacket has,
yeah.
an 840 billion parameter model running on it, and
As you were talking, it started to become apparent to me that having the ability to have those models and that data and process that data at the edge means I can potentially self-correct very quickly. All those things that you listed out, there's opportunities for things to fail. And so being able to maybe predict or, be in near real time or even,
recover.
hours before and then recover. Yeah, that's pretty
Recover,
exciting.
learn, and then take those learnings and send them on. So before we were training in a university, this is now training, interacting with people, things, the environment. This is how people learn. I learn in school, but then I go out and then I'm in the real world and I go, well, this physics actually works. Okay. And there's other things going on. So I think this brings us to the next level of learning where I could take things everywhere. So like I can have, if I put this in every delivery truck, I've got tens of thousands of things that are learning about the roads, about how deliveries should work, the environment. We go, oh, it's getting hotter here. The roads are getting worse, this many vibrations, and be able to share that and get that into, larger data banks in the cloud to learn at a higher level and then retrain models, push them down for the next generation. But having that ability for things to touch and be right there, like for the next meetup, I'm going to have this sitting next to me. I mean, it's going to be there, as opposed to, well, now my stuff is in the cloud. Maybe there's a little bit on the laptop, but it's here. And, everyone could have that here with them as, an extra brain with, storage and to be able to instantly grab whatever you need. Like, what was that? At the last meetup, we were talking about what? Oh, there it is. There's the video. I think Tim was talking something about a cat and then this thing, and you're like, okay, here's the picture of the cat and this thing. Here it is.
Mhm.
Let's
So
have
who's going to be joining you in August?
we're gonna have, I don't know, do we tell people?
Oh yeah, this is the big, Christmas in July. So I guess we don't tell people, but we keep
Well,
them.
we'll hint that there's people from some really interesting organizations doing cool stuff. And I may have mentioned things that are related to who it may be. And we'll drop some of those, once we're done with this meetup, which I gotta start getting ready for. We gotta put out the chairs. I gotta figure out how to lay this out to get as many people comfortable as possible. Because we have anywhere from 50 to 200. I'm hoping closer to somewhere smaller than that, but I want to make sure we get as much room as possible here.
Excellent. Well, have a great time. We look forward to seeing what you guys are up to in just a few minutes. And yeah, we'll see you again real soon.
Very cool.
All right. Later.
See you.